Today I'm going to talk about Thomas Aquinas, the philosopher of the 12th century. And Thomas was an Italian and Dominican friar. He was also known as a philosopher and a theologian. He was born in 1225, and what's interesting is they don't know the exact date that he was born, but the day that he died was March 7th of 1274. Thomas was known as a philosopher, but he wanted everyone to know more importantly that he was a theologian, and he believed that philosophers were pagans, and so he had his own philosophies and his own thoughts about education, but most importantly, he was a theologian who liked to make claims on one truth. Um, for Thomas Aquinas, he believed that anyone is capable of learning and gaining knowledge, um, and he believed that for someone to gain moralistic knowledge and truth about their faith, that it required special and divine revelation, but he does not think that it requires divine revelation to learn or be capable of learning knowledge. Um, for Aquinas, the goal of education was to produce a full and complete um, spiritual and moralistic being. So therefore, he believed that religious studies and theological studies was very important to education and was necessary. Aquinas also believed that living in society and being a part of a community requires that someone has knowledge of political, legal, and economic awareness. So he believed that education should contain communication and also community skills. So he really emphasized speaking, writing, and reading as basic needs of education. This would be for everyone, whether they were seeking truth and faith or anything. He just believed that those three things were basic for anyone's success of living in a society. Um, Although everyone is capable of learning and gaining knowledge, again, Thomas emphasized that knowledge does not make someone moralistic. The only thing that makes someone moralistic is one truth. Um, so Thomas believed that education was important to creating a whole human being. He believed that this would be formed through formal and informal education. So meaning teachers could be an example to students of that would just by living their lives to show them what their morals and values are. And he also believed that through religious and theological studies that humans or students could be created as their whole being by seeking that one truth through theology. He also believed that teachers are servants and that their vocation is solely based on serving the students, and I really agree with that, and I like that philosophy because that's one of the reasons why I want to be a teacher, is because I want to serve students and I want them to be the best that they can be. And whether I teach in a public school or a Christian school, I think that they can learn morals and values just by the way that I live my Christian life. There was a 20th century philosopher that criticized Thomas Aquinas, and he said, this is quotes, he does not like the Platonic Socrates set out to follow wherever the argument may lead. He does not engage in an inquiry. The result of this makes it impossible to know the outcome in advance. Before he even begins to create his philosophy, he already knows the truth, and that truth is his Catholic faith. The finding of an argument for a conclusion given in advance is not a philosophy, it's a special pleading. Therefore, I do not think that he needs to be on the same levels as philosophers. I understand what Russell is saying because it does appear that Thomas Aquinas, he has philosophies and he has beliefs about education, but most importantly, he always falls back to his faith, which is always true and which never changes. And so it is hard for philosophers to see how he could have a philosophy when it's always just one thing. So, anyways, that's all I have on Thomas Aquinas for today, and thank you for listening.